So there's a lot of ish about this, and I think I should watch this. Okay, I was getting this a lot on my feed, so we're gonna watch this video with Asmon. I think he has a pretty good outlook on this game so far from his previous videos.
Hey guys, today I want to talk to you all about the drama that's been surrounding Lost Ark in the past week or so, primarily centered around Argos and the honing rate changes or lack thereof. So,
I
you
feel
guys
that
have probably
already,
seen on
yeah.
my channel, there's probably been a couple of videos.
I'm stuck on 1340 unless I pay money, of course, and golds to get there because I'm late or whatever. But I can't do Argos. It's, yeah, kind of sucks.
Talking about this, maybe a reaction video you've seen, but I've had a lot of people thinking that I think different things about this. So I'd like to actually sit down and give my real, uncut, uncensored, unedited opinion about this and talk about what has happened, what I'm worried is going to happen, and what I hope Amazon and or Smilegate does to prevent this from happening. Basically, for anybody who doesn't really understand what the problem is, their third tier of gear, it's like 1300. 1300 at the beginning is very easy to upgrade, and then you get to about 1340 to 1350 or so, and like the chances of having a successful upgrade for your piece of gear go down drastically. And
Yep, 13. I'm at 1349, and it's like 10%. And then you keep trying and just pray.
single time that you do it a chance at it, you roll the dice, you use a exorbitant amount of resources and materials. So you're seeing people that feel like they are compelled to spend a lot of money in order to continue upgrading their character. Now, this has always been the case in the game because it is fundamentally a pay to win game to an extent if you consider gear score winning, which I personally do. But the reason why it's been so much of an issue and there's been so much.
I see it as a pay to win also because to me PvE is important, and just being like stronger through paying means it's a pay to win to me. There's some other aspects in the game that can't be paid, but that's besides the point.
Of a focus put on it recently is that a raid came out, Argos, and Argos requires you to have 1370 item level in order to receive the items from him and in order to even queue up to fight the boss. So basically, if you don't have 1370, you can't do the boss.
Yes, if you can't do 1370, you can't do the boss, and if you can't upgrade your gear from the latest content, then you get behind week after week every time Argos is resetted on Thursday. Yeah, yeah, it could be argued that like you could take your time or whatever, but how long does it take? I'm a person that plays at least 6 hours a day, and I couldn't reach it. Like I can't reach it. I don't know how long it's gonna take me, maybe a month or two. It all depends on how lucky I can get from my owning. And it's tough. There's like this huge gap where there's a lot of people who are stuck where I am, and I think this is a concern that should be brought up and talked about with, especially with the devs. I know it was different in Korea and Russia. Their gap wasn't as large as this one during Tier 3. But I'm not really sure why they designed it this way this time. Because at 1355, from what I heard, you can enter the hard mode. This is from something that I heard. And then for this one, they raised it to 1370, and then along with Argos. So, a little confusing.
And you have the people that are at 1370 that then after 1370 for some reason it gets easier to upgrade your gear again, or like the chances are higher for succeeding because you're using different resources. So it's kind of like you hit this break point and then it's like a rich get richer situation. So not only are you able to upgrade your gear more easily, but on top of that, now you're also able to just make a lot more money because you're able to access these materials and these items that make your character even more powerful and give you an even larger power advantage over other players comparatively whenever you're looking for groups or things like that. And of course, like matchmaking and party finder, the interplay with that, with the different people, and they'll inspect somebody, they'll see if somebody has like X or Y engravings or gear or whatever. And the fact is that if you have access to Argos, you have access to more pieces of gear, and if you have access to a credit card, right, you can also have access to more pieces of gear too. So these things do affect every player because if you're queuing up into a party finder at all, and you have a random guy who's looking for a fourth person for their party, are they going to pick you, the guy who's like just barely 1340, or are they going to pick the 1385 whale that has 4 engravings at level 3 and all of their gear is legendary? They're always going to pick the other guy over you at a glance because there's no other frame of reference that they can do to judge you whether you're good or not. So I think this has been something that's become a really big issue because Lost Ark, I think that this is something that I had heard many times. I had not played the game myself prior to the NA release, but I had heard many times from many people that the game had respected your time much more than a lot of other pay to win games that came from Korea, which is something that they have a really bad reputation for. So,
Yeah. So Korean MMOs play bit so play beta. Huge grind fest. Huge grind fest. And I think that's what turned people off from the game. When people start reaching 1340 specifically, they're going to see that they have to get through this wall, a really steep wall, and it's day in day out chaos, see chaos, guardian, abyss, and then who knows how long it will take you to even get to 1370. And this isn't the grind. I don't know if this is the grind that people want. It's obvious that the devs wanted this to happen. There's no islands. There's no nothing to remedy that. Um, but I have heard, especially from other content creators and the dev themselves, that they care about the time. There was a before the game released, the Golds or something. I forgot the dev. Said that they cared about our time and stuff, but do they really? I'm not sure. Their actions aren't really speaking for it in game.
So I think that there's a lot of people who made those videos, and people like me who thought those videos were true are thinking, well, wait a minute. Like now we have to like we have to overcome this insurmountable thing because you have to get to 1370 to do this boss. But if we spend that much money, it's like you feel like you kind of have to, right? And you have a lot of people that are 1360 and they're pretty much free to play, and they get compelled to spend money to push themselves a little bit more. And you do have a situation where people that spend a lot of money on the game, or people, because this is not really, it is true that there are some people that have reached 1370, and I'm sure that there might be a handful of people that reach 1385 without spending any money on the game in order to buy like resources or anything. I think that's possible, but just because it's possible does not necessarily mean that it's reasonable. And so those people have massive amounts of time, like 12 hours, probably 10 hours a day they're playing a game. On top of that, they have like massive game knowledge. So these are the best of the best of the best, trying as hard as they possibly can. So for a realistic person,
Yeah. And then from my perspective, right, like I was a totally new player. I mean, I played PvP in Russia, but that's only like a level 26. But I don't have like the knowledge of what to sell, what to buy, when to sell, getting what to prioritize. And I'm in it with a lot of other people who are at T3 who are just stuck now because of the market. I didn't take advantage of it earlier, and now I gotta wait months for Argos. Yeah, so I feel like I'm part of like that average player, the tier 3 that's there, and I'm having this problem that he's talking about right now.
it's just a much more realistic thing to do is to spend money, right? And I think that's what a lot of people are doing. And I think that's really created a bad taste in the player base's mouth because they have heard all of these positive things about Lost Ark, how it doesn't like kind of force you into paying money, how it doesn't make you feel like you're one of the have-nots if you don't have a certain item level or whatever. And now the game comes out in North America, and we have this distinct class difference. We have this massive class difference between players who are able to either play 12 hours a day and get lucky and understand the game enough to get 1370, and also players that are able to spend a lot of money and get up there on their own as well. For me, I'm not really in either one of those groups. A lot of people in my stream helped me out with materials, etc. But there's really no difference between me and a pay-to-win player, to be honest. So I'm not really affected by this as much, but I can see this as being very harmful to the game, and I think that it will become.
Yes, I agree with that. This is very harmful to the game. if the devs continue to give that gap, they're gonna lose a player. I mean, they're gonna lose me, but in PVE, because like I don't want to like imagine I paid now. I guess they would try to they see it as support, and then they're gonna want to do it again. Like they're gonna want to create that gap, and then it will just do more and more people will feel separated because at the end of the day, like it's the casual players who make the community. No one. It's not like the tier 3 people. It's not like the whales. Like those are like really small compared to like if there's no casual players, then what's the player base then? Because there's already like less than what I don't know. Remember the number. There was less than 10% people completing Guardian raids, and that's kind of sad because you're not like playing the game. So other than that, if you're not doing Guardian raid, that means you might not even be doing Abyssal, and so you're doing like mindless just grinding, getting your item level, and then the chaos dungeons aren't even that hard, you know. So it becomes without doing like the hard stuff, it just becomes a mindless grind. I don't think that that'll be fun for a lot of people, and I think that's what led to like more than half of my guild just quitting.
Increasingly more harmful. And I think also in a big way that it's harmful to the perception of the game. And this is an issue that New World ran into as well, which was ironically also produced by Amazon Games. Is that New World it released and it had so many glaring problems that took so long to solve that the player base's opinion of the game is already set in stone. People have already decided how they feel about the game, and that's it. It's kind of like what happened with No Man's Sky. How long did it take for them to rebuild the reputation, etc.? And the reason why this concerns me is that I really like Lost Ark as a game. That's why I play it a lot, and I've done a lot of the side activities, whether it's collecting Mokoko seeds or completing my adventure journal or just going around to the islands, getting the island souls, etc. Like this is just something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy the combat, etc. And I don't want to see a game that has so much potential be squandered because of mismanagement. And I don't really know where this mismanagement is coming from. Is this Smilegate? Is this Amazon? In my opinion, I don't think it's either one. I think it's both of them. I think that probably just collectively it was a bad decision that was made. And I think that Amazon and or Smilegate should come out as soon as possible. And right now, I think that there's three issues that the game has, right? Issue number one is that Argos came out so early that a lot of players aren't 1370 and they feel like they have to spend money in order to get there. That's issue number one. Issue number two
Yep. Issue number one's where I am.
is the fact that I think actually it's two issues, but I think the other issue that's really big as well is the fact that there are a lot of other catch up mechanisms and daily mechanisms that players have in Korea and in Russia that are not available in North America. So for the first month,
And that's what's confusing to me. Why didn't they put it? Why didn't you guys put it Amazon? Like what's like they're probably not gonna watch this. But I'm like I gotta speak my opinion because I also feel like Asmongold. I enjoy the combat. I enjoy the PvP, and I want this game to succeed. But if they're gonna keep doing this, it's not gonna go well. I do understand that no one's perfect. People are gonna make mistakes. Even devs, like they're not like the best. Uh, but I think they need to understand what a lot of us are trying to say and how we feel, and they need to adjust.
we didn't have the events. There's also the I think heroic guardian raids. There's also item level locked abyss raids. So you go back and you do the old abyss raids, but you're locked to a certain item level. And then there's also this something called the bridge too, which I'm not really sure exactly what that is, but it apparently releases with South Vern, which is in a higher item level area that will probably come into the next content patch.
Yeah, that isn't out yet. That's it didn't come out this patch.
So not only are players playing with, oh yeah, the honing rates. That's the third issue. I forgot to mention that. So the honing rates in Korea for these different item levels are much higher. So basically, North American players are playing with less resources because they have less available avenues to get those resources from. You know, no bridge, no heroic guardians, no heroic abyss raids. You don't have those. So not only do you have less materials, but your materials statistically upgrade less.
That's news to me. They reduce our owning rates. That is news to me. I haven't seen it for myself, but I think I would be a little bit more mad at that. Like, it's weird how they did that on purpose. They did it on purpose on lowering our owning rates, and they did it on purpose on not giving us catch up, along with increase or releasing Argos 1370, 1370. It's like they want us to pay. It doesn't get clearer than that. I really it doesn't to me. Okay, let's
So
keep
it's like
going.
you're getting fucked in two different ways. And I think that's probably the biggest issue that the game has is that the American player, the Western player's experience is fundamentally different than what a Korean player's experience is in the game. And I think that's just it's almost like they've designed it in a way to make people hate the game. It's just that's the way it feels like to me. It feels like it was designed in a way to create as negative of an experience as possible and as frustrating of an experience as possible. And I think there's a lot of people that are just tired of it. They're pissed off, they're frustrated, and they don't want to play the game anymore. There's already been people telling me that they quit playing the game, they uninstalled it, etc. And I think that the reason why that happens is that whenever you take, that two combinations, right? Like less avenues to get resources and your resources buy less, right? You're in like a Great Depression simulator, and a lot of people don't want
Yes.
to they don't want to play that. Like, why would somebody want to do that? And I've talked to a lot of other content creators who have played Lost Ark on the Russian and Korean servers over the past like week or so, and almost all of them are confused by these changes just as much as I have, just as much as I am. I mean, so I think that really this is something that Amazon and Smilegate need to solve like tomorrow, because every single day that this is in the game,
Yes, please. They need to address it somehow, some way. And I hope a lot of people voice it out. I mean, right now these are like the things that people will talk about when they get to tier 3, but I hope they people see this and try to understand like what's going on, cuz I don't want them to waste their time when they get there. Hopefully it'll be fixed when people get there as well.
it creates a bad taste in people's mouths because they see people that have a massive difference in power to them, which unlocks certain content that they don't have access to. So it does create, as I said before, a class system, right? Where like these people are the Argos class of players where they have access to these things, and getting to 1385 and 1400 is easier for them. But then we have the other people, the peons, the serfs here that are sitting around in 1340, 1320, and they're primarily free to play and they can't really get anything out of it. And I think that's really what the most frustrating thing is that you need those people in the ecosystem of a game in order for it to survive. You can't.
Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. 100%. Like it's not about the people who can whale. It's about the casual players. If they're not there, then the game, I don't think the game's going to work. The market's not going to flow. Everyone's just going to be just always want to buy. No one's going to want to sell. It Everything is fucked pretty much.
Can't have a game that just survives on a handful of whales, because soon those whales will die off because they don't have any more krill to eat, which are all the free to play players.
That's
That's
me.
just
I'm
what
Krill.
inevitably happens. And so I think it's very unhealthy for the game to create a caste system in this way. And I think the success of Lost Ark in other regions is because that it did not do that. So I think that what Amazon and Smilegate need to do is they need to come at this from two different directions. I think that they probably should buff the honing rates for tier 3 content and not have it have this weird, like, oh, it gets harder, 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 then it gets way easier, then it gets harder again over time. I feel like that's kind of like a weird power jump to have. And I
To add on to that, to explain in a lot more detail. When you reach 1370 and you reach to Argo, you go to Argos, you get these materials, right? Get these materials to craft armor, and then you put your plus 15, your 1370 plus 15 into that armor, it becomes plus 6, but the chances go up to back to 60%, a lot easier. But it's so much harder to upgrade your stuff for some damn reason to 1370. That's confusing.
I think they need to do that like immediately, right? And like the next week's patch. I think also they should come out with an apology or something like that, acknowledging that this was a mistake, because I think the reason for that is that a lot of times, like, this is the first like post-release content patch that we've gotten. So the first impression that people get of this game is that, wow, I have to spend money, and they're releasing content that only people that are 12-hour a day players that are veterans and or whales can get access to.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. He explaining how I feel. I feel like a lot of people there will share that we can't do it. But I put in a lot of hours and it's just sad. I thought I would do Argos, but I can't. Yeah.
What the fuck is in it for me? And I know you can very easily say that, oh well, you can just enjoy, playing the casual content and just do it as it comes and everything like that. People just that's just not that's you nobody that's not you're not addressing their concerns. You're just telling them that the way that they feel is wrong. And I think that the way that those people feel is not wrong. I think that
Yes. Exactly. I put in a lot of time and I want to reach Argos. Do I have to like just put a band-aid over it? No, we could try to fix it. We could try to make it something normal. Sorry, he said that in Korea, Russia, it's that's not normal. It's so weird. It's so I don't get it.
that a lot of people play video games because it is an escape from real life being pay to win. Real life is it's a pay to win game. Your parents matter. The school you went to matter. The country you grew up in.
That's a very good point. Like we play games to escape like reality, of course, and we just have fun with it. And it being an MMO and having everyone the same playing field is nice, but the fact that we're gonna go to a pay to win just to do Argos, it kind of feels like real life, you know? Like if you get lucky with the knowledge, if you're smart, you get lucky with like the owning. That's what it's starting to feel like life in a game.
In matters, the amount of money your parents make matters, what you look like matters, how attractive you are, how tall you are, how smart you are. I guess how smart you are also translates over to video games too, but all the other ones kind of don't. And so in a video game, I think that a lot of people view it as to some degree a great equalizer. And whenever you have something that's so just blatantly class dividing, like something like Argos, for example, you really attract a lot of resentment from those people because, as I said, I think a lot of people play video games because it is that even playing field, because it is that place where they don't have to be, have some rich person lording over their power, etc. And I think that's why so many people had so much hope with Lost Ark, and that's why so many people are also very upset about this emotionally because they feel like they've been betrayed and misled. And I think that those are very strong emotions. I'm not really sure if I'm there yet, but I really think that it's not healthy for the game at all. And I think the sooner that Amazon and Smilegate not only acknowledge this as a mistake and a problem immediately, but also solve it. And again, I said they need to solve it with two different things. They need to solve it with an increase to the honing rates, and they also need to solve it with adding in that extra content like the heroic guardian raids and the abyss raids. I think that fundamentally that is a better gameplay experience than expecting people to play multiple alts and then repeat the exact same content over.
Yes, I have 6 alts, and I still can't reach Argos. 6. It's not fun doing the same thing over and over. I would love to do new stuff. It
And over and over on an alt that they might not even really care about playing as much as their main, but they feel like they have to so they can funnel resources to their main character. I find this to be a very contrived form of gameplay, and it's something that I don't want to participate in. And if it was up to me and I was playing solo and not spending any money, I would have probably just stopped playing at about 1320 item level or 1340, maybe done some of the collection stuff or the life skill type stuff, and then I would have just stopped playing the game until they made the game more fun to play and more fair. So I think there's a lot of people in my position, and there's also a lot of people that are in tier one, tier two, thinking about playing the game, etc. And they hear the problems that I'm talking about and the problems that other people are talking about, experiences, and they think to themselves, you know what, maybe I might not play this game. Or, you know what, I don't want to invest even more into this game because at the end of the day, this is going to be the position that I'm going to be in because this is what these guys are running into now, and I'm going to run into the same thing in a month. So I think Amazon, again, I want to make this very, very clear because I think it's so important. Amazon slash Smilegate, I don't care who's at fault. I don't care about arguing, is it Amazon's fault or Smilegate's fault? I don't give a shit. I just want it fixed. I think that whoever is in charge needs to do two things. Number one, increase the honing rates for tier 3.
Yes.
Number 2, and this is very important, make the other content that players have in Korea and in Russia that allows them to get more resources without having to use alts, put those in the game. Put the heroic Abyss dungeons in the game. Put the heroic Guardians in the game. And put whatever the bridge is in the game too. These things are core to the everyday gameplay loop, and I think they will just make the everyday player's experience better because it will give them more options and more things to do. A lot of times I'll log on, I'll do my Chaos Dungeons, I'll do my Guardians, and then I'll be pretty much out of stuff to do for the day unless I want to go find some random island thing to do or whatever else. I don't think that it's a problem, and I think it would just simply make the game better. There's a lot of people out there that I think agree with me.
I want to add that breaking out of tier 1, breaking out of tier 2, it honestly it wasn't that difficult. It didn't take us that long. I would prefer that rather than give us like nothing, like some type of bridge. It shouldn't take that long. It shouldn't take months to get to. I've been in tier 3 for about way longer than tier 2 and tier 1 combined, and it's still getting longer because I need 20 more item levels, and you only get 0.8, about 0.8 item level every time you bump up your gear. So you could just do like some quick math. 2 to 3 days it takes me, and then I need 20 more item level to get in. You get 0.8 in 2 to 3 days. So I don't know how much would that be in a month. I don't even think it would be enough. So I don't know. Personally, I think I have the patience to wait it out that long because I'm a grinder at heart, and I'll keep pushing, and I think, but not everyone else can do it. 100%, not everyone else can do it. No one has that time. No one has that patience to get to that good stuff. People, it feels unrealistic to reach Argos as of right now. And once people start again realizing that, then it's over. The game's done. So this is a hump that all of us has to get through too if they want to keep progressing. And they have to fix it tomorrow.
And I'd hope that Amazon can get this message as soon as possible before the game starts attracting an even worse reputation. I think that every single day that this is an issue, it will be bleeding players, bleeding respect, bleeding integrity, and the faster that they come out to stop it, the faster they stem that bleeding and actually start healing that wound, and we can actually start having a better game. So that's pretty much all I've got. It's been a really big problem, I think. And I think also for a lot of people, it is true that this is mainly a perceptual problem. This is something that only affects 1% of the player base. However, I think that it is demoralizing for a lot of the player base as well, and it makes them not want to continue in the game because they know where it ultimately leads. And I think that's a very big point of investment with MMOs, and that is why I think it needs to be solved immediately. Because you don't want to have people get demoralized and think, what's the point? I'm not going to whale. I'm never going to get there. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to make this video, let you know how I feel, and really kind of make, again, unedited, unbullshittery take of this, and just kind of talk about it straight up. So thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate it. I'd like to hear what people's opinions are.
I love it when he does this stuff. Love it. Really good. A lot of the stuff he says, I do agree with. There are a couple of times I don't agree with him, but most of the time I do like what he says. And I see why like a lot of people look up to him now. Back then I didn't really enjoy him, but I love how insightful he is. But yeah, from another person. I don't know if you guys are gonna watch this, but they really need to fix their stuff. I am one of those people that even think about quitting, but I don't want to. Seeing my friends leveling up, I'm scared that they're gonna quit and stuff, and that would eventually lead to me quitting as well if I see enough people quit. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you guys in the next one. Thank you, Asmongold, for your opinion. Hopefully, it does reach them.